What if I told you there's a reason you can dream bigger than most people you know, yet still find yourself trapped by the same old habits, the same old lazy days, the same disappointments? What if I promised you that if you stay with me through all 3 parts of this video, you'll finally get the one thing no self-help book or viral motivation video ever gave you, the map out of the cycle, the hidden reason you're stuck, the truth about your own mind that Carl Jung tried to show the world, and, at the end, the exact blueprint for turning all your pent-up ambition into real, lasting change. This is the reward for anyone who doesn't quit halfway. But it only makes sense if you stay to the end. Because nothing changes until you see the full picture. And trust me, you haven't heard this put together like this before. We all know the feeling. You see someone online, or maybe in your own life, absolutely crushing it. You think, I have just as many ideas, maybe more ambition. Why can't I do what they do? You plan, you daydream, you tell yourself, this week will be different. But when it's time to act, something invisible holds you back. Society tells you it's laziness. Maybe you've called yourself that 100 times. But Carl Jung would say, laziness is not a personality defect. It's not even about being tired. It's a mask. It's a word we slap onto something much deeper, a hidden war inside your mind. Most people never look past the surface. They think they just need more discipline or a better morning routine, or to want it more. That's why you can binge productivity videos for hours and still not get off the couch. The world calls it a lack of willpower. Jung calls it something else entirely. Jung's entire career was about one thing, digging up the parts of us we refuse to face. He called it the shadow, the hidden self living under the surface. The shadow is not evil, but it's cunning. It contains all the fears, doubts, bad memories, and insecurities you try to ignore. Here's the mind-bending part. The bigger your ambition, the bigger your shadow grows. Why? Because every goal you set, every risk you take, every time you dare to imagine a life beyond the one you have, your shadow feels threatened. Its job is to keep you safe, small, and comfortable. So when you start to dream big, the shadow goes to work. Suddenly, you feel tired, distracted, unsure. Every action feels twice as heavy. Your brain invents clever reasons to delay, to rest, to avoid. Think about it. How many times have you decided to make a change, only to find yourself doing the opposite just hours later? This isn't weakness, it's a psychological defense system. Your ambition and your shadow are in a tug-of-war, and until you see what's happening, you will always lose. You might think motivation is the answer. Watch a few hyped-up YouTube talks, get that adrenaline rush, and maybe you'll finally start, right? But here's the twist. Motivation is just fuel for the shadow's fire if you don't know what's holding you back. Jung believed that you cannot out-hustle the parts of yourself you refuse to see. The more you hype yourself up without addressing the real resistance, the more frustrated you become when it all falls apart again. The shadow feeds on disappointment. Every time you fail, it whispers, "See, I told you it wouldn't work." Let's map out what actually happens so you can see the pattern that almost everyone misses. You get inspired. You set a big goal, start a business, transform your body, change careers. At first, you're on fire. You make plans. You tell friends. But then the days pass. Doubt creeps in. Distractions multiply. You start making deals with yourself. I'll start after I get more rest, after things settle down, after I learn just one more thing. Suddenly, a week has passed, a month. Your motivation is gone. You feel like a failure. You look for a new source of hype, a new secret, and the whole cycle starts again. Here's the real secret. It's not a lack of motivation or talent or opportunity. It's a lack of honest confrontation with the part of you that's terrified of what might happen if you actually changed. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Read that again. How many times have you said, "That's just the way I am," or "I always mess things up," or "I guess I'm just not meant for more"? That's your unconscious, your shadow, writing the script for your life. And you're calling it fate. But fate is not final. It's just the name we give to patterns we don't understand. This is the question almost nobody dares to ask themselves. If you are ambitious but never move, what are you truly scared of? Is it failure, or is it success and all the changes it will bring? Is it being judged, or standing out, or the pressure that comes when people expect more from you? The shadow isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to protect you from pain, embarrassment, disappointment. But it doesn't know the difference between real danger and imagined risk. Every time you listen to that hidden fear, you shrink a little. And every time you shrink, your shadow gets a little stronger. Most people click away before the truth lands. They'll keep living the same cycle, blaming their energy, their willpower, or their bad luck. But if you stay with me for all three parts, here's what you'll get. You'll finally see how your shadow operates in your life. You'll get Jung's map for making the unconscious conscious, step by step, not just theory, but real tools. And at the end, you'll get the blueprint to turn your ambition into action, no matter how many times you've failed before. Most people never see this. If you do, you're already ahead. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how to uncover your own shadow, and what happens when you stop fighting yourself and start working with your hidden mind instead. If you want more than hype, if you're tired of feeling stuck, don't miss the next piece. The reward is waiting, but only if you finish the journey. You've probably blamed yourself for failing before. Maybe you called it laziness, lack of discipline, or even bad genetics. But the truth is, most people have never learned the real source of their resistance. Carl Jung would tell you that what you call your life is mostly the sum of your unconscious habits, your shadow, running the show behind the scenes. It's not about weakness. It's about old survival patterns, memories, and beliefs so deep you don't even know they're there. This is why change feels so heavy. You're not just fighting a habit, you're challenging the invisible force that's kept you safe and comfortable since childhood. But if you want to do more than just try harder, you need to do what almost no one dares. Face your shadow directly. Think back to the last time you truly wanted to change. Maybe it was getting healthy, building a business, learning a new skill. Did you notice how quickly your mind invented urgent distractions? Suddenly, cleaning your room, scrolling your phone, or talking about your goals became more important than acting on them. This isn't random. It's your shadow defending its territory. Why? Because every real change is a threat to your comfort zone. Your shadow will fight, distract, and even punish you with anxiety, guilt, or shame. Anything to stop you from taking a risk. Jung saw this over and over in his patients. People would come with grand ambitions, but underneath, they were terrified of failure, judgment, or just the unknown. So they self-sabotaged over and over and called it fate. Here's the paradox almost nobody talks about. Every stuck habit gives you something in return, even if it's just temporary relief. Staying in bed means you don't have to face the world's expectations. Not starting that project means you never have to risk failing. Not asking for what you want means you never get rejected. Your shadow will always offer the illusion of safety. It whispers, "You'll change tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes. Until you name what you're getting from your old patterns, you'll never escape them. That's why Jung believed in radical self-honesty, even when it hurts. Most people never slow down enough to listen to what their resistance is really saying. But Jung taught that if you want to change, you need to bring the shadow out of hiding, not by force, but by conversation. Try this tonight. Sit somewhere quiet and imagine you're talking to the part of you that always finds reasons not to start. Ask it, "What are you afraid will happen if I succeed?" Let the answer come, even if it sounds silly, angry, or irrational. Often, the shadow will reveal old wounds, moments where you were laughed at, criticized, or felt alone. Sometimes it's fear of success and the new responsibilities that come with it. Sometimes it's fear that if you finally go after what you want, you'll lose the people who only love the old you. This is not weakness, it's just old pain, dressed up as procrastination or fatigue. But once you hear the story, you can start to change it. Most people try to shame or bully themselves into action. They use guilt, self-criticism, and no excuses slogans. But Jung believed this always fails, because you cannot hate your way into growth. Instead, he taught self-acceptance. Not accepting failure forever, but accepting that your mind is trying to protect you, even when it gets in your way. When you accept your shadow, when you bring your fear, laziness, or self-doubt into the light, it loses its power to control you from the dark. Suddenly, you're not wasting energy on self-blame. You're free to use that energy for something new. You don't have to win the war in a single day. Jung knew real change starts with the tiniest, most honest step. If you feel stuck, don't set impossible goals. Instead, do one small thing. Send the email, take a walk, speak your truth to one person. Then notice how your shadow reacts. Does it resist? Try to bargain? Get louder? Don't fight it. Just notice. With every honest step, the shadow's grip loosens a little more. This is the part of the journey where most people turn back. It gets uncomfortable. It feels slow. But the people who keep going, who stay honest, keep listening, and take small, real actions, are the ones who finally break free. Remember, the full reward is at the end of this journey. Most will never get there. But if you do, you'll have the blueprint to make real change, no matter how many times you've failed before. What's coming next will change everything. In the final part, you'll see how to turn your new self-awareness into unstoppable momentum. Not just theory, but the exact process for transforming ambition into reality, day after day, no matter how strong your shadow used to be. You'll get the step-by-step method Jung would give to anyone desperate for change. And you'll understand why, once you see the shadow, you can never go back to sleep. If you want to finish what you started and finally become the person you dream of, don't miss the last piece. That's where the real breakthrough is waiting. You've made it further than most. By now, you've faced the hidden forces that keep you stuck, seen how the shadow turns ambition into resistance, and learned the power of honest conversation with yourself. But here's the truth. Most people get this far and still turn back. Why? Because insight isn't the same as transformation. They understand their patterns, but they never turn awareness into action. Jung saw this in the deepest struggles of his patients. Self-knowledge is powerful, but useless unless it becomes movement. If you're still here, you're ready for the real reward. The exact steps to finally break the cycle, outsmart your shadow, and become the person you were always meant to be. You don't need another motivational speech. You need a new relationship with your own mind. Here's what Jung discovered. The only way to change a pattern that lives in your shadow is to bring it into the light, over and over, with actions so small the shadow can't fight back. Let's be real. Your shadow is always looking for a reason to say, "See, you failed again." So don't try to prove yourself with some massive overhaul. Prove you can take the smallest step every day, even when it feels pointless. Decide on a single action that moves you closer to what you want. A 5-minute walk, a short paragraph, one email, a single honest conversation. Each day, repeat it, even if your mind says it's not enough. The power isn't in the size of the step, but in breaking the spell of inaction. With every small win, the shadow's voice gets quieter. Most people drift through life, then wonder why nothing changes. Jung taught that radical self-awareness is the engine of transformation. So start tracking your journey, not for perfection, but for honesty. Every evening, ask yourself, did I take my small action today? What resistance did I feel? Did my shadow try to bargain, distract, or discourage me? Write it down, even if it's just a sentence. This process does two things. It keeps you honest, and it lets you watch your shadow in real time. What gets tracked gets transformed. One of the biggest lies ambition tells you is that you must do it all alone. But Jung knew that real change happens in community, not in isolation. Find one person you trust, or even a group online, and share what you're working on, even if it feels small or embarrassing. The act of speaking your truth out loud destroys the shadow's power. Suddenly, what once felt like shame turns into connection. Others will relate. You'll feel less alone. This is how your ambition becomes real. Not just a fantasy in your head, but a living process in the world. The shadow is persistent. Some days, you'll feel all the old resistance return. Fatigue, excuses, old habits calling your name. Here's what separates those who change from those who quit. They expect setbacks, but never let them be the end. Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." So if you miss a day, don't spiral into guilt. Recognize the shadow, forgive yourself, and start again. Every time you return to your intention, you chip away at the old pattern. The people who keep going, even imperfectly, always outlast those who demand perfection from themselves. The blueprint in action, a challenge for you. Here's your reward, the blueprint, real, practical, and proven by Jung's deepest work. 1. Name your shadow. Write down what your laziness is truly protecting you from. Don't judge it, just see it. 2. Choose a small daily action. Not a huge leap, just one thing that moves you forward. 3. Track your progress honestly. Every evening, note your action and your resistance. 4. Share your truth with someone you trust or in a safe community. 5. Expect setbacks, but return. When you fail, start again. Never let shame have the last word. Do this for 3 weeks. Watch what happens. You'll notice the shadow losing its grip. Your lazy days get rarer. Your confidence grows, not from hype, but from quiet self-trust. This isn't theory. It's how real people, with real struggles, change their lives. Most will never finish this journey. They'll watch half a video, save another tip, and keep waiting for the magic moment that never comes. But you, if you've stayed with me to the end, you've already proven you want the truth more than comfort. Carl Jung believed that those who dare to face themselves become the rarest, most powerful kind of person. They stop living someone else's script and start writing their own. The world needs more people like that. The world needs you, awake, honest, moving forward. If this series spoke to you, here's your final challenge. Share in the comments what your shadow has been telling you, or what small action you'll take today. Support someone else who's doing the same. Let's create a space where honesty is celebrated and transformation is possible. If you want more deep dive videos that go beyond hype and give you real tools, hit subscribe and join this journey for real. Thank you for watching. Your new story starts now.